guys, welcome to another episode of Jalan Jalan Cari Rumah. We took a break last week.
Yes.
How does it feel to be back after a break?
I missed you, man.
Oh boy. Okay, is that why you're sitting so close to me?
No, you forced me to sit close to you because you somehow brought the camera closer this time.
You're full of fibs, Guna.
Yeah, why by now?
Yeah. Can you please start talking the truth?
Okay, I will talk the truth.
Okay, but we know for certain that whenever Guna is giving his opinion about the property market on Jalan Jalan Cari Rumah, it is the truth. Like you're not fibbing, right?
No, of course not. How could I do that?
Okay, so today we're going to talk about something very controversial.
And bring it on. What are we talking about, my friend?
It's a difficult subject to get hit on into, but let's try. Okay, we want to talk about racism in the property market. Now, if you are an Indian, right, there's a high chance that you might have experienced some form of racism when you're trying to rent a house. According to a survey last year, that it said that Indians had a significantly higher amount of more Indians faced racism when trying to rent a property.
Just trying to recollect when I used to rent. Yes, I have faced a couple of landlords.
Was that
as well.
because you were Indian or because of your looks? I just want to clarify.
Because of my color.
Oh, okay.
Color. Not
Colour.
looks. Looks that I got through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So go on. Tell us.
Yeah, I remember once before, but well, I was not. I was a very notorious guy as well, right? You know, so I probably my dressing was not good and all that. I was much younger days, right? And yeah, I tried to rent an apartment before, together with some college mates. We were all Indians.
Yep.
And the landlord wasn't. Yeah, and he brought us to his unit, but after 2 minutes he wanted us out. He was busy. He had to go, and and we never got a call
You
back
were
from there.
scared, five machas together in one house. I
probably.
might get robbed or something.
Yeah, probably. See, that's the connotation that we have, the stigma, which is not a good stigma. You know, unfortunately, if you look at what's happening around as well, we can't blame people for feeling that way as well. With things that have been happening of late, recent stuff that's been happening in the shopping complexes. We've seen. You saw the video online.
No, I haven't.
This guy walks into a what do you call this? A jeweler, and he gets caught, and he had to be an Indian.
Okay.
He got bashed up, but he had to be an Indian. So this kind of the stigma has stuck. There was even once I remember sitting in my car, sitting a long time ago, in my car, and a person walks past. Right, she's not an Indian. Right, she walks past and she looks into the car and she steps away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a very sad situation. It should not be that way. Yeah? And true enough, especially when you're out to purchase an apartment or purchase a home or rent a home, this should not be a criteria there. It should not be a criteria set by landlords. I only want a certain race.
Yep.
And I'm sure that you can explain a little bit about this as well.
To be fair, it's quite easy to get confused with an owner not wanting to rent his property out to somebody based on various different factors. It can happen quite often where you confuse that with he's being racist against me. Especially in Malaysia, we've got three major races, but actually there's much more than three races living in Malaysia. Sometimes we tend to have stereotypes, right? And we think that this person, because he's of a particular race, he has a higher tendency to be racist towards me. He may be rejecting you for some other reason, and you take it as he's being racist to you. That's one. But then there are landlords who downright, I've been a real estate negotiator before, who will downright tell me, I don't want tenants of a certain race. And I find this disturbing. And the amount of people that have told me this, it's significant. It's not a small number. Actually, but a significant number of people have told me this. If this person, I only want this race,
a particular race,
to rent my property. So I feel when first there's two issues here. One is, don't confuse an owner's desire to reject you for racism. It may not necessarily be racism, but if you find that or owners that are rejecting tenants or potential buyers to their property just because that person is of another race, I feel it's not right. It's not correct. Yeah. Primarily because of this, access to a home, access to a house, I would say it's a human right. It's a basic necessity, and you cannot be denied that human right or that necessity based on your race.
Having said that, does a landlord has a right to choose who he wants to rent his place?
Yes. And that's the going excuse that's bandied about, that I am the landlord, it's my property, I can darn well choose who I want living in my property. And if I'm going to filter someone based on salary, based on income, based on background, why not based on race as well?
So a landlord has that right.
Yep.
He has that right.
Yep.
So you can't actually get upset or angry with the person. You could feel disappointed, but you can't get upset and angry with the person because he has that right.
So we'll look at it this way. When you're a landlord, right, you are supplying a good that is a necessity. A home is not a luxury item. It's a necessity. People need a home, right? And everyone needs to be able to rent a home or stay somewhere close to their job, get the right sort of home. Let's look at it this way. Let's say you are the owner of a club, a country club. Okay, you have a right to say, members must wear a particular dress code. If they don't observe this dress code, they can't come in. Or maybe certain sections, like the restaurants, right? You need to wear shoes and you must have a collared shirt and long pants. Fair enough. What if the club started saying, if you're Indian, you can't come into this restaurant? Or if you are Chinese, you can't go into this restaurant.
That restaurant won't be open for very long.
No, but it changes the whole equation.
Yes.
There seems to be a boundary, like, okay, you are able to tell that I can judge you based on these criteria, but I should not judge you based on your race. And I think the reason is this. You can change all the other factors. If I'm wearing shorts, I can go and get pants and enter the club, right? But you can't change your race. If someone is denying you access to something based on your race, there's nothing you can do about it.
Correct.
It's a very arbitrary situation.
It's a very unfair situation as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we are facing lots of this. We are facing. What can we do?
Yeah.
What can we actually do? Aside from fighting, what could you actually do? What are your thoughts on this?
I think this is a broader social problem in Malaysia. There's just too much stereotyping going on because we have so I noticed with urban Malaysians who grow up in multicultural schools and multicultural neighborhoods, this problem is not so prevalent. But it seems to increase, and this is just by observations. I don't have scientific data. Anyone can correct me if you feel I should be corrected. But I feel that people who come from locations or areas where it is very monoculture, right? They tend to be more prone towards stereotyping. So it's a problem in a broader context where there seems to be. It seems that some people are alienated from other races, and what they know about these other races is general information. So there's a lot of generalization happening. The only way to solve this problem is to correct that perception. It's ignorance, and that ignorance you can only cure ignorance by shining light on it, right? Ignorance is in darkness. You put light, there's no more ignorance, which is knowledge, education. And I would say it starts at the schools.
Totally agree. And it starts at the schools, but it evolves from the schools to a person, an individual educating himself as well. Why I say this is because look at us too,
Yep.
right? We are in the property market.
Yep.
Right? When I first got into the property market, someone asked me, what is an Indian guy doing in the property market?
Yeah, especially one with such thick eyebrows.
Oh, you've got to my eyebrows again. Yeah, he's got a fetish for my eyebrows.
No, I don't. I've got a problem with it.
Yeah, but I was asked that. And I thought to myself, hey, that is a valid question because there's very few. But I thought to myself, if I pack myself with knowledge about the industry and I'm able to bring myself, carry my conversations well, I could get through. And through enough, that's what I did. You know, and
if you did this, yep.
Yeah, I get my way through with that as well. Yeah, that's right. No, but what I'm trying to say is you've got to have that in you as well. Forget about if someone is being racist towards you, forget about him being racist towards you. You've got to stand up above him. Stand up above him and speak out with facts and figures and knowledge and make him understand that he is actually being very, very shallow.
Yep.
That's how I look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, and don't take advantage of the situation as well. I give you an example. I'm not going to mention where I saw this, but there was a neighborhood, terrace houses, right? Very tight terrace houses. Yeah, the road in between is quite tight. So you got cars parked at both sides. You know, it's quite narrow to go through. And one of the intermediate units, there was a new family that moved in, right? And it was an Indian family. About a week or 2 weeks later, there was so much of chaos on that road. And I happened to pass through that road one day and I saw what was going on in that house. They built a temple in the porch. You know, so people were complaining. It's a housing area.
Yep.
And you've built a temple and you've got people coming to worship there and they've parked their cars all over the place. You know,
Yeah, that's definitely a
so
problem.
why do you do things don't do things like this?
Yep.
You know, and this is what creates that stigma. You know, one of the areas that adds to that stigma.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sure.
so these are things that we need to look at. You don't want the racism thing coming along. Don't add to it to make people believe that that's how it's going to be.
Yep. So there's so many other aspects to this. It's not just tenants trying to find houses. We have to wrap up really soon. We've got, I think, just a couple of minutes. There's also quotas, right? And it's sensitive. You know, there's quotas, there's discounts, you know, given to a particular race, which, you know, it is justified with there are reasons and there's justification for it. But is that racism in the property market? That's something that we don't have time to explore now, but it's something that you guys can think about. And
You're not giving me time because of my color, right?
Yeah. Indian people just talk too much.
You heard that, yeah? It's on video. I've got proof.
I'm Indian, so I can say that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, tell us, what do you think? Is there racism in the property market? Do you think racism is a big problem in the property market in Malaysia or not? Guys, please keep the conversation civil. Anyone who is, you know, is being rude or just downright fucked up, your comments will be deleted.
And give us some, try to give us some solutions that you actually may have in your head.
Yes.
How do we solve this issue?
That's exactly why we want a conversation. We want to see what are possible solutions to all these problems, right? So thank you very much. We've got to wrap up this episode. It's me, Ikhram, with Guna saying peace.
Peace.